Hi, I'm Heather Falcone, and welcome to Heat Treat Radio. This podcast is produced by Heat Treat Today and focuses on the technical and operational decisions made in heat treating and thermal processing environments. Each episode brings practical knowledge, current challenges, and informed perspectives from people working directly in the industry. Today's episode is special. It was recorded live during the NADCAP meeting in Pittsburgh. And it was a real treat because former Heat Treat Radio host and Heat Treat Today publisher Doug Glenn sat down with Peter Sherwin, who's the Director of Strategic Marketing at Watlow, to discuss Watlow's continued investment in the heat treat industry and the launch of its Edge Process Management, or EPM, platform. And their conversation covers the future of processing data, control, automation, including how new technology may help heat treaters address compliance, cybersecurity, energy efficiency, workforce development, AI, and the changing role of the furnace operator. Watlow is also sponsoring today's episode, so I'm going to turn it over to these two industry giants. I can't wait.
Well, welcome everyone to another episode of Heat Treat Radio. I have the real pleasure of actually being face-to-face here with our guest today. It was Peter Sherwin with Watlow. Peter is the Director of Strategic Marketing, and we're going to be talking about an exciting product launch that you guys have recently gotten out. So
it's actually due to be launched in July, so it's imminent.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, exciting.
Yes, I think so, and we'll get into that. Before we start, though, I just wanted to take a personal privilege, if I could, and I extend my thanks to this guy, Peter Sherwin. For many of you know, Peter was one of the three people that I talked to before starting Heat Treat Today, and your input was just really valuable. So thank you. I've appreciated it. It's been a blessing for me to do it, and your encouragement was helpful.
And it's fascinating to see it grow. So
yeah, super.
Good job.
Super. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Several questions we want to ask you, okay, that I think will be interesting for our listeners. There's been, to a certain extent, some sort of chatter, if you will, in the industry about Watlow's commitment to thermal processing market. Would you like to address that a little bit?
Yes. So actually, one of the main taglines of Watlow is wherever thermal is critical. So obviously, in heat treatment, thermal is very critical. And I think my background is from Eurotherm, and now with Watlow Eurotherm combined, sort of been with that organization for, I think now, 17 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And there was very much a bias towards heat treatment within the Eurotherm camp, but Watlow has a much broader portfolio. So heat treatment is still very, very important to Watlow, but we play in a number of different spaces. In fact, the business is split up into two key verticals. One is semiconductor, one is industrials. And under the industrials banner is all the heat treatment activity, whether it's automotive, aerospace, etc.
Right.
So it's still very key to us. And I think we've been pushing a little bit more through our distribution channel of late, particularly in the last 12 months. Put a lot of effort into sort of training and reskilling. And on the side of that, which I think we'll probably get into, we've also been developing the next generation of products.
Yeah.
And so that's been taking quite a bit of our focus, but definitely haven't stood away from heat treatment.
Right. And Watlow has been pretty dedicated in giving you the resources to do that. Now, you've been through when Eurotherm was standalone, when Eurotherm was Schneider, and now Eurotherm is Watlow. Comparatively speaking, are you happy with the amount of resources that Watlow is dedicating to the brand?
Well, so Eurotherm, when I joined, was actually part of the Invensys setup.
Correct. Yes, I'd forgot.
But it was pretty much a kind of a standalone company. We used some of the Invensys products like Wonderware, etc. As then time went on, we were acquired by Schneider, if I remember, 2014-ish, something like that. And we were putting in the sort of energy controls business as a whole, but still remained kind of the intact Eurotherm, had our own offices, our own sales team sort of spread globally around the world. But you could tell sort of towards the end when they put us up for sale and Watlow acquired us, there was a little bit of restriction in spending at that time, which, like one of these programs that we'll talk about, that probably slowed down some of that velocity of that program. Thankfully, when Watlow picked us up, then we've gone full steam ahead.
Full steam.
So a lot of investment. I'm surprised by the amount of investment, but a lot of investment.
Surprised and happy.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, my love is heat treatment. It's been.
Yeah. Well, you've been in. I mean, you were born in a furnace, they say, right?
I've been here 30 plus years.
Yeah.
And it's given me the opportunity to work across the world.
Yeah.
So I started in Europe, ran commercial heat treatment plants in Europe, as well as captive. Then moved to India, had some time in India with a suite of commercial shops. And then sort of 18 years ago, moved across to the US. And it's all on the back of heat treatment. It's amazing to look back.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's fascinating industry. And I feel as though I still owe something to the industry. And this kind of next generation of platform for me is something I've worked 10 years on this. And so
well, let's talk about that a little bit, because that's really one of the I think pretty exciting from what you and I talked about beforehand. And that's we had both attended an industry event where they said the next 4 years will determine the next 20. Which is saying these next 4 years, this next period of time, whether it be 4, 5, 3, who knows, is going to be pretty critical. So this product that you were talking about, that's what I'd like to delve into a little bit. You're calling it EPM, right?
Yes.
So standing for Edge Process Management.
Correct.
Just very high level. Don't go into the details because we're going to try to get into that.
Okay.
What is it?
So it's a platform product. We've, going back to my urethane history, so urethane was started in 1965 and produced a lot of instrumentation for the heat treat industry. But everything was kind of separated. So the best in temperature control, the best in sort of chart recorders, originally from a brand called Chesil, and also then the best in SCR power controllers.
Okay.
And that was fine. That was perfectly good for the time those came out.
Yeah.
But as we're moving into this newer arena, there needs to be far more connection between those devices to answer some of the critical things that the heat treat industry has got to wrap its arms around. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it, but there's several things like how do we improve compliance and make it far easier. Energy efficiency. I mean, that 4 years to then dictate the next 20 years. 2050.
Yeah.
Think about how the planet will be at that point in time. We will need to be running our furnaces far more efficiently.
Yeah. I think it more than any other time in history I can think of, I don't think anybody knows what it's going to look like 20 to 30 years down the road. I mean, it used to be you could kind of get a decent sense. I'm not sure we can do that anymore. Okay, so EPM is basically a platform, not a discrete instrument or product, so to speak, or a discrete instrument. Correct?
So how we're rolling it out, and that's why the 4 years is kind of key, because we've got one release after another. So it will take a bit of time for the full platform to emerge. But the release in July is going to start with data management, which really replaces our historical chart recorder, but it goes much further than that. And then as that evolves, we will bring out control, data, and full automation over the next few years. And so that's why it's a platform. It all shares the same I/O base, and it's got the same programming software. Right. So there's commonality across everything.
Right.
But effectively, you can put any of these modules anywhere that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm curious about the motivating force between the development of the platform, right? So I'm assuming that your company, that Watlow and perhaps companies even before that, had concepts of things they felt were going to be changing over the next so many years. Were some of those things the impetus behind developing this platform? For example, workforce changes. Did they have an impact on the motivation to get this platform up and running?
I think we benefited from maybe some of the slowing down process of Schneider because we've been able to make some architectural choices
Yeah.
that fit with this kind of new world of AI.
Yeah.
So a lot of the web technology that we're
Yeah.
using fits very, very well with that.
Right.
So we're kind of fortunate that we can leverage
Yeah.
some of current technologies because as we sit here today, AI is in the news
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Not everyone is completely sure
I don't think anybody is.
how
Right.
all of that is going to unfold.
Yeah.
But actually producing a platform today and not being able to have AI
Right.
would be
Yeah.
a big miss.
Yeah.
And so we actually have some of those features within the platform.
Yeah.
And that really addresses sort of some of these workforce challenges that
Yes.
are coming up.
So those were actually two of the areas I wanted to ask you about: was workforce, AI. And if you got more to say on that, please do. But how about, I'm going to just list a couple other things here that I was thinking about: electrification, energy, right? Compliance, cybersecurity. All these things. These were considerations, I assume, when you were putting together this platform.
But it's just accelerated the need for deeply embedding all of those features. I'm not sure we fully understand how the workforce changes are going to affect everything, say in a furnace operation, but there's definitely going to be a component of AI that is needed because as we have so many people retiring out, and I was talking to one of your colleagues, Heather, sort of earlier today at the NADCAP event. We were talking about something that happened yesterday afternoon where there was a question about process records and how to sign those off and what the procedures were, etc. And so we're getting people that are coming into the industry that have no background in any of that. We have to get them up to speed very, very quickly. And so that's the type of technology that we're putting into the platform to enable people to have a very short learning curve and be useful very quickly, and then arm them with the likes of AI so they enhance their capabilities.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But that's just
AI
and automation.
Yeah.
Energy is, and I think this is one of the points where if you have separate components, it takes quite a lot to then integrate those components together to make them more useful. Say a temperature controller and a power controller.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Right.
But it doesn't have all of the abilities of one device. You're only passing certain information between the two.
Yeah.
But if you can make that power controller have all the capability of control and data, you can much easily be able to manage energy efficiency going forward. And so the energy thing is another trend where this new platform will address.
Yeah. How about the cybersecurity and or even compliance issues we were talking about?
So I think that's one benefit of a new platform. Cybersecurity requirements have been around for a while.
Yes.
We a few years ago we had SB 327 from California. So a California law that came out because of baby monitors or something like that, and people sort of hacking into them. But it affected everything. So even an industrial supplier, if they had a connected device, needed to do more protection on those devices. You wouldn't believe the hurdles to then re-engineer cybersecurity into older products.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not easy and kind of clunky.
Yeah.
And our customers probably still want to slap our wrists on that because it's not easy for them. But we had to do it because it was, say, law in California. And CMMC There's laws that are just coming into effect sort of the end of next year in Europe. All are going to push higher and higher requirements for cybersecurity. And so the benefit of a new platform is you can design that in from the start.
Yeah.
So we're kind of fortunate there, but it's a big deal.
Yeah. Very interesting. How about, well, you've kind of hit on it, but the fact that the infrastructure that most of the systems are built on now is really kind of aging out, right? So you're kind of fortunate being able to almost start from scratch, let's say, to can you comment on that, on the aging infrastructure?
Yeah, I was having a discussion with quite a large global heat treater a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about one of their issues is the fact that every furnace is different.
Yeah.
And so we're looking, obviously, with this new platform to put that in, solve a lot of needs and requirements for customers. We also realize that some customers want something they can just take out and put in place, which is a discrete type instrument.
Yeah.
So along with the EPM, we're building what is called our level 3 controller. So that's a project in flight at the moment.
Okay.
We will preview that at Furnaces North America, and it will be released some point 2027.
Okay.
But that actually, I mean, if you look at all the different products now across Watlow and Eurotherm, discrete products like the F14, the Nanodac, 2704, 2604, 3504, all of those devices, they're all very different.
Yeah.
It's a learning curve for someone to learn and be able to program those devices.
Right.
So we're taking the best of all of those and putting it into a new device. And so even if you want to just replace a single device, we will have that next year. And we're trying to look at the fact that if you've got an operator that's been used to running that particular controller for several years, how can we actually make that display appear the same to them?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we'll have some prototypes at the show that we can demonstrate some of this. But it's kind of exciting as we kind of come to the end of a whole suite of products from the Eurotherm and also the Watlow side, and what we're moving into, not just the platform, but also being able to keep some of those instruments going, but in a slightly new disguise.
Right, that fit into this platform. Yeah, sounds very interesting. So you've talked a good bit about the customers. If you can, about the users of this stuff. If you can summarize just in a briefly, why do they need this? Why do people need this new platform? Let's say.
It's back on what you were saying.
Yeah.
The next 4 years dictate the next 20.
Yeah.
There are so many of these new kind of forces that are going to be on heat treaters.
Yeah.
Dealing with sort of lack of personnel and new people coming in, not with the skill base, and trying to get them up to speed faster. It's going to hit everyone. There's not going to be a slowdown of energy initiatives.
Right.
Maybe little pause in some places of the world at the moment.
Yeah.
But it's going to continue. And why wouldn't you want to be more energy efficient?
Yeah.
We've been developing some algorithms for this new platform to enable that. It's not just about climate. It's about running your operations more efficiently.
Yeah.
So those are two big things. We've picked up on the cybersecurity requirement, which is going to rise. But the other one is AI. How are our customers and prospective customers going to be able to leverage AI for their operations?
Yeah.
And I don't think that exists in today's technology,
Yeah.
but we're building it. So I've seen some of these prototypes where instead of having to drag function blocks onto an engineering diagram and manually software wire things up, you just prompt it, say what you want.
It does it for you.
and it will then create that architecture.
Yeah.
It's
going to be interesting.
It blows my mind when you see it.
Yeah.
But it's not a big leap from what's available to us at our fingertips today.
Yeah.
If you use ChatGPT, Claude, etc.
Right.
So it's just taking that into industry.
This episode of Heat Treat Radio is sponsored by Watlow. For more than 100 years, Watlow has designed and manufactured the components that make up complete thermal systems, including electric heaters, temperature sensors, temperature and power controllers, and supporting software. With Eurotherm now part of Watlow, that's expertise that also includes advanced process control and data management for demanding heat treat applications. Watlow's new Edge Process Management platform brings data management, process control, and automation into a scalable architecture built for temperature-driven operations. In its first release, EPM Data, it creates accurate timestamp process records at the point of measurement with built-in audit trails and flexible review tools that support compliance, audit readiness, and better operational decisions. For heat treaters, the broader platform is being developed to support process control, SATs, TOSs, and consistent records across furnace assets. To learn more about Watlow's thermal solutions and the EPM platform, visit watlow.com.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. All right, so we've talked laid down a bit about, I think, just what it is, what EPM is. I'm curious about what it took for Watlow to build it. I mean, it just seems daunting, you know? So maybe if we can talk about it in the sense of, well, you probably have a better sense of how you want to answer it, but scalability, data integrity, all those things. How did we do that?
It like anything, it takes a village,
A huge amount of work,
but a global village.
Yeah.
If I kind of reflect, we started on this in 2016.
Okay.
We had a team in India that actually had a questionnaire, and they went round the world to key customers and just asked in-depth questions.
Okay, voice of customer,
recorded, and really sort of got into the detail about what was needed for sort of a next generation product. Now, as we've mentioned before, things slowed down a little bit with the sort of handover at the end of Schneider and then into Watlow, and then it's been kind of full speed ahead with Watlow. The interesting thing is that Watlow also brought control capability, so they had their own control line. So they manufacture their products in Winona. So now we've introduced a Winona team into this village. So we've got Winona. The original creators were based in Worthing.
Okay.
So they were the designers and project and product managing sort of this product. We have initial manufacturing where all the Eurotherm instruments are manufactured in Poland.
Okay.
And we also have engineering resource in India. So you can now imagine all of these groups are collaborating together.
Yeah.
It's sort of a 24-hour cycle.
Yeah.
Just to build this forward. But for anyone that's looking to do this, do not underestimate the amount of effort, money to sort of create something like this.
Yeah.
It's
Don't try this at home.
It's a commitment. You asked about our commitment to heat treatment.
Yeah.
This platform alone is a big commitment because, and maybe we'll talk about it in a little bit, but things like the ability to do TOSs better, SATs, along with process control, process recorders, all of that has been considered in this platform. Yeah. Now, it doesn't just apply to heat treatment, because from the Eurotherm side, historically, there were two main kind of industries that we focused on. One was heat treatment, one was life sciences.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about life science is all the requirements for auditing. Like if you make one single change on a device, you have to make sure, was it the right person that made that change? And have full records of everything that happened.
Yeah.
And so all of that intel, which we kind of had to a point in some of our data management products before, we've just expanded on that. And so where heat treatment is kind of moving, life science has already been somewhat in front.
Yeah.
And so all of that functionality supports the direction we feel that heat treatment will potentially go.
It seems like a very daunting task to put something like this together.
But daunting and exciting, and you always want to release things as soon as possible. But there's a lot of work in sort of the testing. We have a brand to uphold, and so making sure that we get something out there that works. Consistent. You know what the heat treatment game is like. NADCAP requirements, AMS 2750. It has to be right.
Well, let's go there, because I'm curious. You mentioned about compliance, AMS 2750, whatever, and NADCAP. Can you speak in a little bit more detail about how this EPM, the platform, is going to help a captive heat treater, for example, as well as a commercial?
Yeah. So for us, it doesn't really matter. It's a furnace, and how best to control that furnace, and it starts with the analog input card. So you have to get that right for everything else to kind of follow. So a lot of the development was around how do we make a card meet the requirements of not just a process controller, but also a field test instrument. How can we get that accuracy level in that card so it can be used across anything and it's not restricted? And obviously to do it in a cost-effective manner so a commercial and captive heat treater can actually afford it. So we had an R&D project that went on and sort of looked at various different ways of doing this. Eventually we landed on a method of actually improving the CJC, the cold junction compensation. Because we did the analysis where the errors were that had an impact on accuracy. Most of that error was in the CJC. So obviously that was the area to look at. So just very, very simply to explain it, imagine you have a very accurate sensor at every junction. That's what we have on our I/O cards. It's patented, so anyone can go out there and have a look at the detail of the patent. But ultimately, it meets process control requirements and field test requirements, which then means suddenly you have the possibility per furnace to do process control, SAT, and TUS in the same platform. Obviously, there's some restrictions on NADCAP that you have to mark that this module's doing an SAT, these modules are doing a TUS. But it's all common. And so you then can share that information. That's amazing. Improves compliance no end.
That's great. I want to come back to AI for just a second, because we had talked a little bit about how you build it into the system. I'm curious, how is it going to help the end users in the running of processes? Is there anything that is in the system as far as AI goes that would help?
Yeah. So on that, the ability to sort of pull data and control together means that we can start to sort of look at set point program as the cycle is running. And so one of the new functions that we're creating, something called batch validator. So if you think from an operator's point of view, and this is picking up the point that I was discussing with Heather earlier about a process record and what does an operator need to do as the process is running, when it finishes, to sign off, make sure that it's met all of its requirements. Typically today, they may need to refer to some other guidance, like some other document that says it's got to be within this particular tolerance at this level, it's had a guaranteed soak between these
soak time, quite quickly or whatever.
But it's not easy. It's not easy for that operator just to kind of glance and see, has it met the requirements or has it deviated? Because it's just a line. So that's the one thing AI and batch validator will do, is to actually then overlay what is required for that particular running of that process and show very clearly if it's deviated or not. So it takes that kind of human error and guesswork from an operator and gives them more information.
Is the current standards that are, the AMSs or whatever, do they allow for a automated check on the validation of the load, or will that have to change?
I fully believe in human in the loop. Obviously, I'm human.
Yeah.
And so there will always have to be a check.
Okay.
But this really helps
Yeah.
as an operator aid, because it's there on the screen.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the person signing off has to be a real person.
Yeah, gotcha. Peter, this has been good. It's been interesting. I know there's a lot of details here that we can't share, but it's going to be exciting to watch Watlow come out with this, starting here in July. And
Yeah.
for those of you who are listening that might want to be at the Furnaces Show in Indianapolis in October, I think there'll probably be more there. To wrap up, though, I'd like to ask you one question, because I know your brain goes at warp speed. Tell us what you think the future of heat treating will look like.
That's a really good question. It depends on kind of the timescale. I think we're kind of clear about efficient and reliable running for the next few years. No, we can help that.
Yeah.
But how is it going to structurally change? I think the operator is going to have a much, much bigger role. So whereas
Interesting.
an operator in the past, and I've seen this sort of in plants and sort of in my own plants, in my history, we've got less and less people in the plant, less and less operators. But think about maintenance skills, quality skills, people retiring out the industry. I think we have a real problem unless we arm the operator with the ability to do quality, the ability to do a level of maintenance, even purchasing. I think the operator of the future is going to be very multi-skilled.
Gotcha, yeah.
But also assisted by AI. We're seeing it in different areas of our business, how people are moving and taking on more responsibility because of AI.
Yeah.
I just correlate that with sort of a future where the operator is going to be that key person and may not require anyone else around to fully run that furnace and run it in a profitable way.
Yeah.
And sort of with a minimum amount of energy, and making sure that it has all of the right consumables that it can keep on running. They will manage the whole operation. So I think that's, for me, I think that will be a trend into the future.
That is actually a very interesting trend, because you would think with all of the AI and things of that sort that you would see less and less of the operator. But I like that. It's an interesting perspective. So we'll have to come back in 10 years and see how well it panned out. So Peter, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Doug.
Yeah.
Appreciate the conversation.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm super grateful to Peter Sherwin for sharing his perspective on Watlow's investment in heat treatment and the development of the EPM platform. And thanks to Doug Glenn for leading this conversation. Thanks again to Watlow for sponsoring today's episode. And you can learn more about Watlow's thermal systems and the EPM platform at watlow.com. If you would like to reach any of our guests, have topic ideas, or are interested in sponsoring Heat Treat Radio, you can reach out to me at heather@heattreattoday.com. Heat Treat Radio is brought to you by Heat Treat Today. More technical content and industry coverage are available at heattreattoday.com. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review on your favorite platform. It helps others in the industry find the show and support future episodes. This and every other episode of Heat Treat Radio is the sole property of Heat Treat Today and may not be reproduced in part or in whole without advance written permission from Heat Treat Today. I'm Heather Falcone. Thank you for listening.